Tonight's episode of Out of the Ring is brought to you by Brian Kendrick's 205 Cruiserweight Tires. If you have a small car but don't have tires small enough for it, Brian Kendrick's 205 Tires. They'll make sure you're not a liar. Hello everybody and welcome to Out of the Ring. I am Toonstar and with me as always, because he couldn't make it as a circus acrobat,
Cobalt Breeze.
Why do you always elongate your name like that? You just do it to fill time or what? No. Anyway, we have an exciting Smackdown plus 205 Live. Yes, we said we'd start covering 205 and, here we are. I know we missed the first episode, but we decided to do both shows in one go. Kind of like how I did both Royal Sisters in one go.
And you keep bragging about this?
Of course. Royal Sisters. How many other people in the world can brag that they did Royal Sisters? At once. Two at one time.
But they're not twins.
Doesn't matter. Serious sandwich action going on. And we got some serious action tonight as we start this show off with an amazing intro with the phenomenal one, AJ Styles. Coming in and talking about, of course, how he's, WWE champion still WWE champion and everything. And then James Ellsworth came out bragging about how he's going to take that title. But unfortunately, that match was supposed to be tonight. But AJ Styles wasn't medically cleared. Once again, I am doing air quotes. But sounds like a bunch of excuses for the phenomenal one. And Dean Ambrose came out to air his grievances with Ellsworth with some dirty deeds, and then he left.
That's all she wrote?
Yeah, that's all she wrote on that one. But we get to our first match of the night. Tag team action. As Rhino and Slater put in for their rematch to try and win back their WWE tag team titles from the Wyatt family. And this one was interesting, I guess. I mean, good news, bad news situation. Good news is we finally got to see a Sister Abigail into an RKO.
Yeah.
Bad news is the Wyatt family are still tag team champions. But now that, the Wyatt family are, it's forcing the other tag teams to up their game.
Yeah.
And really wasn't, aside from that Sister Abigail into an RKO, there really wasn't much that stood out in this match. Yeah, the family focused on Slater, trying to keep him away from Rhino as much as possible, and following that, I passed the mic, the royal we, with which I did with my royal we. I passed the mic now on to Cobalt for this next match.
If you could call it a match, but this match was between Natalya and Carmella, but it ended up not being a match, as it just ended up being Natalya chasing after Carmella in backstage.
Yes, and when she finally got backstage, Natalya was confronted by Bella. Natalya tried to explain herself and tried to explain that Carmella is just trying to stir up shit, which at this point, I don't know if it's true or not. But, I wouldn't put it past Carmella. But then again, we are talking about Natalya here. And a heart is a heart, no matter. The Hearts weren't exactly known for playing by the rules. Of course, then again, you would never tell that the Hart Foundation were heels.
Yeah.
But yeah, we move on to the next match. Another tag team competition between the Hype Bros and the Ascension. And Eric spelled Ascension wrong. What's the point of us paying for your schooling if you're going to keep making mistakes like this, Eric? once again, there really wasn't much that stood out against this match. And, it was supremely textbook. But it was textbook in a goodish way. As, while everything was routine, it's still a step up of what we have been seeing. And, like I said, this is because of the family winning the titles. Everybody knows that they're going to have to be at the top of their game. Because no one knows if the true tag team champions, the Brothers of Destruction, will show up. The Dead Man and the Demon. Which, of course, as you know, one of the Luke Harper has been having a feud with Kane for a while. So, it would make perfect sense for The Undertaker to just show up and raise hell. But in the end, the Hype Bros won this. So, yeah, they are the Hype. And then we move on to a very special episode of Miz TV. This one's kind of cool, I guess. Miz's guest tonight, after bragging about his Intercontinental Championship win and putting a close on the rivalry between him and Dolph Ziggler. And once again, I am so mad, just angry at that victory because it was legitimate, and I can't be angry at Miz for using any low blows or anything because they were all legal during that ladder match, and it just pisses me off more. To find out exactly how mad I am, listen to our coverage of TLC. But, Miz's guest was Dean Ambrose, and the Miz just couldn't stop poking the bear. He's couldn't stop it. Which resulted in Daniel Bryan declaring an Intercontinental Championship match between The Miz and Ambrose as the main event for SmackDown. But we'll get to that later. Next, we move on following The Miz TV, which I've noticed you've been awkwardly quiet over there.
Yeah.
I get that it's my show, but it is called Hippogriff versus Pegasus. What's the point if I don't have a hippogriff?
Yeah.
Or it would just be called Pegasus. Of course, it would be Pegasus versus,
or the Toonstar Show.
Yes, which is better than the Kevin Owens show and Going in Raw. Next is, this one's yours.
The next match is Kalisto versus Corbin. Yet again, their feud has still happening for a while, and this is pretty much payback for the chairs match.
A phenomenal chairs match at that.
But, yet again, Corbin swatted the mosquito that is Kalisto.
Kalisto's no mosquito.
No?
He'll get it, Right now, Corbin thinks he can just steamroll over everybody. He'll get his. But we move on to what appears to be a jobber match. As Chad Gable of American Alpha takes on Tyler Breeze of Breezango. Might as well be a jobber match. These guys are... The Breezango is like the golden truth of SmackDown. They're just right now they're doing this whole fashion police bit. Not funny at all. Hey guys, the village people called. They want their cop uniforms back. But yeah, American Alpha, always a phenomenal team to watch. Breezango, always a phenomenal team to watch get their asses handed to them. And once again, they did, as Gable beat Breeze in spectacular fashion. And we move on to the main event tonight. One of them, anyway.
The main event for the Raw section, the SmackDown section.
Yes.
I mean, SmackDown.
Yeah.
Yeah,
SmackDown. Get the show straight, or it's back in the closet.
No!
I know you're fond of coming out of it.
That burn will need some ice. But...
that burn will need the fire department.
But it's Dean Ambrose versus The Miz, as put together earlier in the night.
Don't sound too excited.
You know the outcome.
I know the outcome. This is why I'm letting you have it. Because I'm just absolutely pissed right now at this.
And I'm not far behind you.
But at least I can look past my anger to show a little enthusiasm.
My deadpanness is its own problem, so... But this was a title match, and we were hoping, really, really hoping, that Dean Ambrose will take the title from The Miz.
They're fond of letting The Miz keep it.
But no.
Tell him how Dean lost this one.
By James Ellsworth.
Yes.
He managed to dodge Maurice's attempt.
Yeah.
But no! James Ellsworth. James Ellsworth had to fuck it up.
The sad part is he's actually trying to help this time.
Yeah. But no. Miz is still your Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah. You're not mine. But that concludes SmackDown, and we move on to 205 Live. The Cruiserweights have their own show, and it was an incredible hour.
I was actually thinking it was going to be longer than an hour.
Well, just an hour. So, technically now, we have 3 hours worth of wrestling to watch on both Monday and Tuesday. Yeah. A whole 6 hours.
2-star started off.
Yep, we kick off 205 with Dar versus Cedric Alexander. And I finally know who Cedric Alexander is. He's a cruiserweight that Fox is apparently dating.
And that explains the whole Fox-Bayley match.
Yeah, because apparently things that happen in 205 have Raw SmackDown consequences. Or Raw consequences, I should say. Because SmackDown don't get the cruiserweights. Anyway, so once again, just blown away by the sheer ability of the 205. One of my favorite moments in this match was when Cedric Alexander went for that flip reversal, where they bounce off the ropes, and Dar just comes up and kicks his hands out from underneath him. That was actually cool because it was just flip, ah! Super fast. These guys are so quick. If you blink, you miss shit.
Oh,
that's how crazy the cruiserweight matches are.
Oh,
like with the heavyweights, you can look at Twitter for a while and come back and not miss a thing. Yeah. But like with a 205, it's watching Speedy Gonzalez take on. It's like watching Speedy Gonzalez take on Sonic the Hedgehog, the Flash, and Quicksilver.
I'm actually visualizing that now. But anyways,
it's time for a speedster death battle. But yeah, and throw a Roadrunner in there in the mix just for good measure. But yeah, in the end, Dar won this one, and then had the gall to dedicate the match to Alicia Fox. Just salt in the wound right there. Mm-hmm. And with that, I pass the mic on to Cobalt.
The next match is is a match between Daivari and Jack Gallagher. Gallagher was introduced in the recent Raw we covered.
Yep.
And it was yet again a match between Daivari.
Yeah.
And it went, and because of the events of the previous match between each other, Gallagher's leg was injured, and Daivari did not hesitate to use that as his advantage.
They rarely do.
There was a lot of hooking Gallagher's legs around the ring post, a lot of submissions targeting said leg, and even ripping off the bandages just to make it more vulnerable. And well, Daivari succeeded and won the match.
Mm-hmm. And now we come down to the final match of both our show and the 205. The main event: Brian Kendrick versus Rich Swann in a cruiserweight championship rematch.
Because the whole rule.
Yep, that the former champion is allowed a rematch. Should he or she or it lose their title. And sitting at ringside was TJ Perkins, a man who has close relationships to both these competitors, and of course, so far, my favorite cruiserweight.
This week we haven't seen what seems to be mine. That is one of the luchas.
Do you know? It would be interesting if Sin Cara and Kalisto left their respective divisions to join the 205.
That would be interesting. Yeah, and to add more than just and add more championships to 205,
like
a cruiser tag,
cruiserweight tag, and cruiserweight women's.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wonder how much you'd have to weigh to enter the cruiserweight women's.
I don't know. I actually learned that the cruiserweight for WWE actually is lower than just regular wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be at just under 250.
Yeah, because there's no way none of the current women weigh. Maybe some of them weigh 205.
Yeah,
but with all that muscle they have on them,
specifically Jax.
Oh yeah, Nia Jax, huge woman. But yeah, Brian Kendrick versus Rich Swann. Both these competitors really giving their all. Of course, Kendrick is known for being he's the heel. He's one of the heels of this division, along with Daivari and Dar. Seems to be kind of heelish.
Soft heel,
maybe. But Kendrick desperately trying to get his championship back. Both of these guys putting each other in the ringer. One of the highlights for me, of course, is because if there is a special guest at the announcer table, shit's don't go down between the guest and one of the competitors.
I was just waiting on Cruiserweight implementing the table, the announcer table.
Yeah, but the odds of those guys actually breaking a table, I mean, come on, that's 410 versus what is normally 500 and up.
Mm-hmm. But if I do recall that there were people where their combined weight was over the thousands.
Mm-hmm. That's when rings break.
Mark Henry and the Giant.
Yep, that was. There's no way these guys are breaking any rings.
No,
especially with the way the rings are built now.
And we'll never get the class that's lower than cruiserweight because they just don't.
Featherweight?
Yeah, it's gonna get featherweight.
Featherweight doesn't exist
in WWE either.
The featherweight, featherweights haven't existed in forever. Featherweight is an insult nowadays.
Then you have pixie weight, which I think is women's featherweight.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, so after doing some battling on the apron, Kendrick sent Swann into one of the posts. Kendrick and Swann both fell over, and when Kendrick was trying to get Swann in the ring, because if Swann lost due to countout, he wouldn't lose his championship. Swann countered and sent Kendrick flying into TJ Perkins, which a brief stare down between them allowed Swann to recover enough to pin Kendrick and retain his title. Instead of going after Swann, Kendrick went after Perkins. And then Swann came in and tried to save Perkins, and both of them wound up getting taken out, and Swann wound up being sent out of the arena. And that actually concluded the night. So, yeah, we have no more to report on this one. So, for Out of the Ring, I'm Toonstar.
And I'm that hippogriff guy.
And you can't teach that. Good night, everybody. Once again, tonight's episode of Out of the Ring is brought to you by Brian Kendrick's 205 Tires. If you need a tire that's small enough for your car but can't find the right size, try Brian Kendrick's 205 Tires. They'll make you think about retires.